Survival horror games stand out from other horror titles by not only aiming to scare players with terrifying enemies, but also by emphasizing the scarcity of resources in unfamiliar and deadly environments. Some of the best survival horror games even up the scare factor by creating formidable and downright terrifying bosses. These bosses have often become iconic figures within the genre as a whole and leave behind their own haunting legacy. But which survival horror bosses are the best in the genre? What's up everyone, Ryan here and welcome to Game Rant. In this video, we will be potentially bringing up gaming memories that you have repressed and looking at the best bosses in survival horror games.
One more. Try. You all break. You can hang like the rest of them.
Eddie Gluskin. Eddie Gluskin is a standout character in the survival horror genre, known for his pretty terrifying presence. Introduced in the Outlast Whistleblower DLC, players first encounter Eddie as a victim in the underground lab, undergoing horrific morphogenic therapy. Later on in the game, as players explore the facility as Wayland Park, Eddie appears in a more grotesque and unsettling form on the third floor, referring to them as Darling, and displaying a disturbing eagerness to capture them as his prize. Eddie's twisted motivation adds to his chilling nature as he transforms his male victims into his idea of the perfect bride by mutilating their genitalia and chests to forcibly feminize them. When faced with rejection, he becomes violent and misogynistic, adding a disturbing layer to his already nightmare-inducing character. Marguerite Baker. In Resident Evil 7, the cannibalistic Baker family members are the main antagonists of the game. The entire group is downright terrifying. However, Marguerite Baker stands out amongst the family as the most haunting. Her aged and grotesque appearance makes for a pretty ghoulish figure, but behind her dashing looks lies the truly nightmarish aspect behind the character, which is the ability to summon and control insects. With Resident Evil 7 marking the first game in the franchise to portray the story from a first-person perspective, the gruesome scenes portrayed by Marguerite only add to the terror that players experience during their encounter with this truly memorable boss. Xenomorph. In the survival horror game Alien Isolation, Amanda Ripley seeks clues about her missing mother, Ellen Ripley, leading her to the abandoned space station Sevastopol. However, upon arrival, Amanda discovers a desolate station where androids have been reprogrammed to attack humans, and a deadly xenomorph is hunting down everyone in sight. Much like her mother, Amanda must rely on her training and the environment to survive against this perfect organism. While most games never showcase the xenomorph's truly terrifying presence, Alien Isolation is a different story. The xenomorph portrayed in Alien Isolation is the main source of the game's intense jump scares and is highly sensitive to Amanda's actions, requiring players to be constantly vigilant and utilize every ounce of breath holding they can to avoid detection and ultimately a swift demise. Pyramid Head. Pyramid Head made his debut in Silent Hill 2 as a prominent antagonist and quickly became the most iconic figure in the franchise. Clad in his butcher's attire with an executioner's headpiece, Pyramid Head is a solid representation of Silent Hill's twisted religious themes. However, as the story unfolds and revelation about protagonist James Sunderland's past surface, it becomes pretty clear that Pyramid Head is actually the manifestation of James's torment and guilt. What makes Pyramid Head truly unique among the bosses in the series is the fact that he can never be truly defeated during any of his encounters in Silent Hill 2. As players progress through the game, Pyramid Head becomes a constant presence, serving as a reminder of the extreme measures Silent Hill's residents were willing to take to prove their faith. Nemesis. The Resident Evil 3 remake does a great job of showcasing the unrelenting force of Nemesis. However, the updated graphics, camera angles, and game mechanics couldn't recreate the true terror that Nemesis imposed on players in the original Resident Evil 3. Both games reveal Nemesis as a clone of Mr. X from Resident Evil 2, but infected with the Nemesis alpha parasites, making them more intelligent and programmable. Nemesis is such a formidable boss that while the game's protagonist Jill can theoretically defeat Nemesis, the creature continues to pursue her. And while the events of Nemesis's arrival were scripted sequences, the players were meant to feel like they were constantly being pursued by the creature, leaving players on the edge of their seats during the entirety of the game, and landing Nemesis as one of the best bosses in horror game history. From the grotesque to the bone-chilling to the downright unkillable, these bosses have most definitely earned their place in horror gaming history and left players with some pretty traumatic gaming memories. Thank you so much for watching Game Rant, and don't forget to check out our other lists, guides, reviews, and more. Game on, and we'll see you next time.